Our peace, everyone. This is Shem Malachi Bey, and I'm Abdullah Bey. We have the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus. And I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Greatly appreciate all of you. And we are bringing this topic of proper person and national political identity. Proper person and national political identity. It is very important that we come to understand what proper person means in the context of national political identity, allegiance, and government structure. It's this I have on the board. Move to the side, please. On the board, I have nationality, consanguinity. Sanguine means blood. The prefix con means with, together with, like. Now, someone will say, I'm a Moor. All right. That's your consanguinity. I'm not Negro color black. I'm a Moor. I'm not Negro color black. I'm a Moor. Well, that's all our people. All our people are Moors. That's our consanguinity. Now, you'll say, well, I'm a my proper person. I'm not Smith, Jones, Johnson, and so forth. And I'm Bay or Eel or Al or Ali or Day or, I'm in my proper person. I got my paperwork from some site or some somewhere, and someone signed and sealed my Moorish documents. I'm now in my proper person. I'm not Negro color black. You've heard that. You hear that a lot. Any paperwork. All right. We're talking consanguinity. You never were Negro color black. You've always been a Moor. Keep in mind, you're talking consanguinity. We have here nationality, national political identity, and political allegiance under the country to which one declares they have allegiance and receive protection. Let's explain the difference. Well, you have nationality in both areas. Explain. I am a Moor by consanguinity, by blood, that can never change. I was born a Moor. So were you. That's a fact. That's a biological, genetic fact. Now, I'm a Moor. I renounce my allegiance to my country, Morocco. Under the nationalization laws of China, I qualify for nationalization. I passed the citizenship of test of China. I now become a naturalized citizen of China. Yes, I'm a Moor by consanguinity, but that's not my national political status. That's just my consanguinity. My national political status is I am a Chinese citizen by naturalization. I come under the protection of the Chinese flag. My national political status is that of a Chinese citizen. I am a Moor by consanguinity. That doesn't change. What is the national political identity? So you go to your job, you go to different agencies, and say you're not Negro color black, you're not a 14th Amendment citizen, and you're Moor. But what is your national political identity? You have the Moorish flag on the paperwork, on the header, your paperwork. But I'm asked again, what is your national political identity? What government to which you have allegiance, what government to which you have protection, receive protection, your government officials. So it's important that we come clear on this matter. It has not been made clear. We just leave it at I'm a Moor. Must understand how things operate throughout the world. So, Shem, you want to add on that?
Elaborate what Professor Abdullah said. And the first thing I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to the international community. Because the international community, when nations come together and they discuss among themselves as a people, not only consanguinity, but a people dealing with national political identity and allegiance. But Professor Abdullah said to countries. So these are mass representatives of countries, and the ambassador has what you call an allegiance. He has a political allegiance to that country because he's an officer, official of that country. And also he has a political identity under that country. Or she. Under that country, she or he has a political identity, which allowed them to be elected as an official. It allows them to be elected as an officer or official of that country parliament or head of state or ministry. The reason why they're able to do this and have government-to-government relationships is because they have a political identity. They have allegiance to a country under a flag and a body of people. They come together to discuss, to negotiate, and to plan strategies on how to protect this culture, this ours. So I go to the international body, and when people say, I'm Moorish, I'm a Moor of consanguinity, okay, then let's look back at the Moorish and Moroccans that have a nationality and have a political identity. They have a national political identity, and they have a political allegiance to a country or to a state or a tribe. And what they realize is that people like them are called indigenous. I'm going to read the international definition. Indigenous people are inheritors and practitioners of liquid culture, ways of relating to people and the environment. They have retained social, culture, economics, and political characteristics. Stop right there. Political characteristics, talking about this right here. National political identity. Culture is talking about this. Consanguinity, blood. That are distinct from those of the dominant societies in which they live. Now, if you're saying you are Moor by consanguinity, that means that you claiming to be the descent and kinsmanship heirs of the ancient civilizations of people, not just in one portion of the earth, but cover the whole earth. Moor's consanguinity cover the whole earth. The root of that is you're talking about blood. And if a person walk up to me and say, well, cut your vein. How you know all y'all blood is the same? I can point to something that reflects back to the tied to the blood. It's called carbon and melanin. Now, being a people like that, descents from people like that, I want to know the territorial domicile, where they lived at, what they claim. Me even to conveyance to a seer, that say that they had conveyance for the cosmos, the heavens, or through a people that's under conquest and discovery, branch out into a land that was not inhabited and claimed it as their own. They're still Moors. Now, where's your political allegiance at? Your identity. Professor Abdullah said it right. If I go to China and Russia, I go to Germany, I go to all these different countries, and I go to, and they let me come in under nationalization, I become a French citizen. I become a Russian citizen. I become a Chinese citizen. I become a Sweden, an Irish citizen. If I fill out any documents, it won't have black, Afro-American, Negro, colored, Latino, white. Why is this not here? Because the parliament, the education system that hands down the philosophy, the knowledge and wisdom to illuminate the people, the next generation to hold the structure, to maintain the ruins that was built by their ancestors, to make sure nobody don't tear it down. So they won't allow anything system to come in that country that's going to tear down their nationality, identity. So you won't see nobody in Russia calling themselves black, Afro-American, colored, Negro, or Hispanic. If an Hispanic goes to Russia, or we call Puerto Rican, or somebody from Argentina, when they get in Russia and get nationalized, if you get an Albion to come from United States and get naturalized in Russia, he won't call himself a white person. I guarantee you, he won't be called a white man or woman. They'll be called a Russian man or woman. This is what we're talking about right here. This is how you get your proper person. When you become a body of people claiming the consanguinity, then you as a collective body in formation, you build what you call a house or a building. It's called political structure. And when you create the political structure, there have to be people with the same national political identity and allegiance to the country or the ecclesiastical body that you are part of. That's society. They have to be a political identity. Once that happens, they're allowed to pick certain men and women from them and elect them into a cabinet office as head of state, who in turn appoint people with political identity, allegiance to that country as his cabinet, run his ministries, or her ministries, or the parliament will have elected to the parliament to make the laws and pass the laws, will be from the society, the nation, and it will be of the same political identity. They'll have allegiance to the country. The judiciaries that making the decisions when disputes happen will have to be of the national political identity and allegiance to the country. Have to be an oath, allegiance. A clerk will have to have the same thing. All the way down to the bus driver, all the way down to the cab driver, all the way down to the man working for the electric company or the power plants, whatever it may be, have to have the national political identity, political allegiance to that country. So you cannot say you and your proper person as one individual. You have to. I'm looking back now. I'm not worrying about right now. Let me look back so I can establish, so we can get out of this mess we in. Everybody hollering, you got to be your proper person. And you ask them, what is your proper person? They can't tell you. That's a problem. If we was in our proper person 100 years ago, we wouldn't be in the shape we in. What I mean, Shim, if the people knew who they were, if the people had an identity of a land, a country, which is in a state, a providence that has a boundary drawings in Morocco, they will be a community of clans, tribes, and societies. They will come together. They will have a flag. They will have their government up, and you will be protected, because when you go on the international law, when you go to a foreign jurisdiction to do business, and they want you to verify who you are, and you say, I'm a Moor, Okay. What's your political identity and where's your political allegiance to? Where's your allegiance? What government you from? And what part of the earth do they domicile the territory? What part of the earth? What part of the earth are they from? They're going to ask you. You in return, to prove that you and your proper person, and you going into a foreign jurisdiction where you're operating at, I mean, you in a zone. You in a political occupying zone. The building you working in is a political occupying zone. The streets that you standing on are erected as a foundation on the land of Morocco. That is a zone. So you always interchanging in and out in political zones. You fall under alienation. You fall under the laws of alienage. That means that you are now bound by their laws pursuant to a treaty. How you come in your proper person is you go to your embassy that's in that foreign jurisdiction. The embassy is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There's an ambassador there. The ambassador is the one that's supposed to certify your documents and authenticate your documents. That is the proof of the national political identity and the political allegiance of that country. The ambassador of Foreign Affairs. That's the embassy. No. Hey. Shit. Let me tell you something. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings or pull nobody's leg, but I'm gonna have to tell the truth on this. Anybody telling you anything outside of they wrong. Pastor Abdullah, you're wrong. Let's stop doing our people like that. There's too many people sitting in jail. I heard a man said that you got somebody getting all these men out of jail, men and women. They freeing them. Oh, they out of jail. Let's come forward now and get our people out of the prison mindset. They in a mental prison. If you can't get a moral back to getting his national political identity and allegiance to his country, let me tell you something. Getting 3 or 5 or 10 men out of jail don't mean nothing. Because you know what you're going to do? They're going right back into what? That's right. Tamara, right. They're going right back into servitude. They're not free because conscience-wise, in the mind, they haven't been liberated. To know that they don't know that the reason why they went to jail. So now, I'm going to explain this to you. You can't say you in your proper person and your mother wasn't her proper person when she had you. Oh, we get to the nitty-gritty now. Your mother wasn't her proper person. You came out your mother. You're not your proper person. You run around talking about you going to give documents. You're going to take individual documents from somebody that's not even a government. That's not even have government relationship. Don't even have a constitution or head of state. They're not even operating an ecclesiastical order of a bishop, a priest, a minister, whatever it may be, a rabbi. They're not even operating. If you operate an ecclesiastic principle, that's who steps up and do everything for you. They have a board of bishops, a board of elders. They have a board of ministers. I'm telling you how this thing go ecclesiastical. If you're doing a social trust and the government, you have a constitution which is a social trust, social economics. In that trust, in that constitution, is the trust because it embodies the voters' rights as beneficiaries. You have the fiduciary role, you have the trustee role. You have the administrator role. Then you have what you call the executive role. What is the executive? All the kinship and heirs of their ancient mothers and fathers of the early generation. All the inheritance of land, rights, protection, immunities, agriculture, industry, civics, political is embodied in culture, and that's supposed to be inherent to the next generation. And the Constitution protects that as a social trust. If it's a ecclesiastical body, it's protected by the old covenants and statutes and orders and codes of the seers and the prophetesses. Don't let nobody steer you and take you down a wild goose trip like, oh, you ain't going nowhere. Now, let's get this thing right. People saying proper person. How you going to be your proper person? First of all, you don't have a military that protects the water from invasions. protects the people's sovereignty, rights to be protected and hold their states. You don't have any political setup of a head of state, a parliament. You don't have a judiciary. You don't even have administrative bodies set up as the ministries that function for the government and handle international affairs. You don't have to have the local government set up under them to have the clerks, the police, workers, sanitation workers. They setting up for the next election, a body of people, a community. If you and your proper person and the police stop you and you show the police a Moorish ID, you saying that you are a national political identity and that you got allegiance to a country, Morocco, and they say, okay, where's your government at? They can't find a website, no domain. They can't find where your country at. They don't see no flag. Who's the person? You don't even know how to say, I want to counsel. You're not even thinking you're a proper person. You don't know that. And if you say you want to counsel, you ain't got a government structure where the council at. And if you say, well, I'm a Christian and we practice the Torah and we have what you call a general divine overseer. Under him is the bishop, the priest or the rabbi. That's ecclesiastical. And then you got the board of elders. We want to call for a minister, which is our council, to handle all our affairs pursuant to the treaty. You just tied his hands up. But you got to have political structure to do that. So if you don't have political structure, your rights is protected by the treaty nation that's on your land doing business. They have an obligation to protect you. But know what they're going to tell you? We only deal with governments, head of states. They already did it before, turn people away. So getting your proper person is coming together. Ask yourself a question. Why can't Moors come together? What's so hard about everybody spring out here to grab a newspaper? Everybody spring out here to hear what the news got to say, the fake line news. Everybody say, oh, they know they have an election coming up and they what you call them, running for office. Everybody can come together. Everybody can run to a center, a rec center for a basketball game. 500,000 people. Go to, the Sixers playing LA Lakers tonight. I'm showing you something, indoctrination. This is called indoctrination. Everybody is concerned about social economics, and nobody concerned about biological culture. Nobody concerned about your blood pedigree and culture. Under culture, the people have a national political identity. They have allegiance to the country because the countries protect them. They eat off the ground, off the land. They grow off the land. They got to protect the land. They fish in the water. So we got to come as our proper person. It's like we want to act outside our proper person to go to all these big. I'm sorry, I got to tell the truth. Please let me tell the truth. I'm telling the fact. We have been indoctrinated and social engineered to lobby in large groups on vain things. That's not going to pull us out of here. When you talk about shit, I can go back 100 years and show you that entertainment, sports. Now, I can't say music because I know what music part of culture. I won't say that because music brings people together because that's sound and words. But what I'm saying is that we take the lower things and we connect ourselves to that, and that won't lift us up. And then we come together on something like this so valuable that the whole world, the rest of the world meet together. And they meet together on this principle right here. And you mean to tell me we can't get 1,000, 10,000 people to come together? Come on now. Let's get this together.
All right. Yes. Stay up here. Stay here. All right, we have some questions that'll be addressed. Instead of sending paperwork to the 7 locations, that's the 7 departments in the United States jurisdiction, federal level, you send it to the embassy, the Moorish embassy. So instead of sending paperwork to Homeland Security and to the Justice Department and the Department of Agriculture and Department of Defense and Department of the Interior Affairs, um, do you send it to the Moorish embassy?
Now, when you say when you say you, are you talking about a body of government? Or are you talking about individual?
This is a question. This is a question.
Now, let me answer this question in two parts.
I am more.
Thank you, Tamara. I asked you that.
Do I or more send Moorish documents?
No.
Paper. Let me finish question. To United States Homeland Security, United States Justice Department, to United States President, to United States Department of Defense, United States Department of Agriculture, etc., the United States State Department, or do I send Moorish documents, my paperwork, to a Moorish embassy?
Well, you're an individual. You don't send up. First of all, United States don't have jurisdiction in Morocco. That's number one. United States don't have jurisdiction, so you can't send nothing to the United States, not even the government. Ain't no government body supposed to be sending United States anything.
No, that's once again, I as an individual, not a government body, I as an individual, do I as an individual send my paperwork to the 7 locations, United States Justice Department, United States Homeland Security, etc., or do I as an individual send my paperwork to a Moorish embassy?
You don't send it nowhere. Individual can't send nothing nowhere. An individual don't have any rights to negotiate with the world bodies, the different embassies. Government, that's the government relationship, not individual to individual relationship. No, you don't have a right to do that. Next question.
All right.
Absolutely not.
So where do I go? So you said I, so you said I do not have a right to send it anywhere. So who sends it?
The government. Right. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the government is the ones that send all documents, authenticate, and certify all documents going out of the foreign country. Okay, all governments are the ones that the people that have national allegiance and identity under that government, that country, they go to the embassy, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they take the documents and they authenticate it for them to prove their identity, their political allegiance, and that they're part of that country. They're national of that country, and that document will be apostilled and will be sent to the other. It will be sent to the embassy of the other nation, or if they're not working through the embassy, they can send it directly to the IRS department, because mainly a lot of times the IRS is the one that give you a number or something to put you in your country. Or if that government body, let's say Homeland Security, you're going into a building that's in the political jurisdiction of United States zone, and they require you to authenticate you. You walk in with an ID, and you walk in there handing them all these paperwork. You say, "Well, I sent it to you." I said, "That's not acceptable as international law. That's not acceptable." Now, if the government contacts them and send them over the documents, then that's proof. Matter of fact, Homeland Security even admitted it in their forms. They admitted it that's who they deal with. Government relations. The embassy also deal with nationalists of governments or ecclesiastical bodies. They deal with the ecclesiastical officials. So no, individuals cannot take upon themselves that authority, delegative authority to themselves, and say, "I'm gonna do it. I don't need nobody else." That's not unheard of. That's not sound principles. That's not jurisprudence. You can't put them on notice. You can't. Only another government can put another government on notice, and that's through a proclamation, executive order, or a letter rogatory complaint filed with the World Court on a violation of a treaty. You can't do that. No, that's wrong. You can't put them on notice. Your government put them on notice. That's what Professor Abdullah broke down. This is what the national political identity and the political allegiance for your country protects you. It's your protector. It defends you. You can't defend nothing. You can't even regulate you can't even regulate a weapon. You can't even go on your own waters. Who are you gonna put on notice? What kind of legislative executive authority was delegated to you from a government voters? You're an individual. Who delegates you authority to do that? I like to know. Who delegates you authority as a government body? How was you elected, or who appointed you in position? And where in the Constitution or the government authority statute that allow individuals to give notice to foreign governors, foreign agencies, departments? We got to get out of that. We got to get out of that. You show me one individual that signed a treaty. Show me one individual signed a treaty with Great Britain or France. Show me one individual more, Moroccan, gave notice to the embassy. Show me a treaty said where Morocco agreed and signed with other nations that an individual Moroccan or Moorish national can bring their own claim without the consul. Please hear me out. Show me again a treaty with the government body, the sultans, or show me a treaty that the Arab Moors or Moorish nations here allow individuals in a treaty to enforce their rights in a treaty without a consul or a deputy. Where's it written at? See, we got to stop trying to do stuff ourselves. Once again, if you say you're indigenous, where's your characteristics as an indigenous? Why you have to call the police? Why when you get in an accident, a police got to come on the scene, or you got to file a police report with the state of origins, one of his departments, his agencies? Why when you have a dispute with your Moorish brother and sister, why you got to go into the United States court, a foreign jurisdictional court, to take another Moor and sue him for property damage, property rights, or for money damages, or for a lawsuit? Why are you going to the foreign courts and sue your mother, your Moor's brother and sister? And you telling me that you sovereign? You're not sovereign, because you don't have a government to make their own decisions on disputes between a Moor and another Moor, a Moroccan and a Moroccan. You go before a foreign, and who you putting on notice? How you going to put somebody on notice? Because you don't have power to enforce the treaty. The executive branch that control the police and the military has power to enforce the treaty. The courts have power to make decisions in their dispute between two Moors. If you have a dispute with your occupiers occupying jurisdiction in a territory of Morocco, you still have to come to the Moorish courts and take the foreigner into your court, because you're not here as you're the hosting nation. They're not. You're not the immigrants and subjects of the conquest and by discovery. You are the ones that hereby allodian title or claim over the territory over many thousands and thousands of years by your ancient mothers and fathers. Any more questions, Professor Abdullah? We can go on. Get to him.
Didn't Noble Drew Ali establish an ecclesiastical society?
According to Noble Drew Ali writings, our authority, I have to stick with what he say. He claimed to promote the faith of Mohammedanism, of the Quran of Prophet Muhammad. Now, if Noble Drew Ali said that, and since he said that, he did say that, thank you for correcting me. He did say that, and because he said that, that means that he may claim that the people's rights are protected under Mohammedanism, the Quran. And this gets me why the Moor Science Temple is not enforcing that they say they of ecclesiastical body, and Noble Drew Ali set up a trust. Well, let me say something. The Quran was here before Noble Drew Ali. The Quran set something up for Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali can't set up for the Muhammad followers because Noble Drew Ali wasn't born back then. That was set up to protect Noble Drew Ali, who claimed to be a Muhammad follower. Then after our authority, everything he should have been resolved around the Quran, nothing else. So I don't see that he did that for the Muhammad followers. I mean, they can't go in the Moorish Science Temple and say they protected under the doctrine of Mohammedanism and the doctrine of the Quran, which is a seer, and that we rely on that covenant of the seer to enforce our Moroccan and Moorish culture and our statutes, and that our imam, our teacher, our rabbi is the one that handled the disputes, hire elect judges, which are the ministers. I don't see that structure. So I can't say that Noble Drew Ali said, I would be telling a lie and tell people, well, Noble Drew Ali set up a trust for all the Moroccans and more. That would be a lie because I couldn't find that in writing. I mean, that's not even in his own words. Next question.
I want to address the audience attention to the Montevideo Convention, Article 1, the qualifications of a state, permanent population,
How's that? All right.
defined territory, 3, 1, permanent population, 2, defined territory, 3, government, 4, capacity to enter into relations with other states. So this is what Shem was talking about. So we want to just direct you to source to which he's coming. All right. So this is the Montevideo Convention. The next question.
Yes.
We have allegiance to American State National. Well, that's pretty much the statement, and then you want to go.
Yes.
We have allegiance to American State National.
No such status as this. Now let me get back to the Constitution of the United States of North America. There's nowhere in the Constitution that you hear the word American. When a charter contract is drawn up, the identity, the national political identity of the people allegiance is in there. It does not say we the people Americans that are Americans. We're talking about the hierarchy now. Now let's get to the common people. In the structure, it does not say the word American. The word American is coined in many European documents in the 16th century. And that's another word of calling a Moroccan. When you say American, you're talking about a British subject or a subject of France or Spain that's living in the occupying territory of France, Spain, Great Britain, Portuguese, all these nations that signed the 1763 treaty. They are Americans. These people that was loyal to these crowns and still today loyal. When something happened, they go to the embassies and say, well, I'm Portuguese. Where's the Portuguese embassy at? They don't say they're citizens of the state. They are indoctrinating even the people, Albions, not to be able to have that mindset to go to the embassies. So this is not being used against us, it's used against their own people. See, this is the United States called the act of the art of war. They declare war without weapons. They declare war without running the military through the streets around the people. How do they declare war? They declare war by creating legislative vices. They pass legislative, they pass executive orders, they pass statutes. These are like bullets. They're like darts. They're like explosives. The laws, the administrations, the ministries, the administrations, the local units they're creating, the men that they hire, the laws, the policy, the regulations are the bullets. Because the ones that's firing it is the people. They're not using guns. They're using laws. They're using language. Let me say it right like Abdullah said. They're using law. They're taking law, not law, they're taking language and they're restructuring us in our mind. And by doing that, that's an act of war. That's called apartheid. They're taking language. Please hear me. They are taking language and declaring war on us through language because nobody cares about it. Because there's no bodies being killed or drug in the street or decapitated or gas chambers. So the new gas chambers, the new tanks rolling in your land, the new taking in water is done through language. Language is the silent war that's destroying our people. That's cut and dry. Language. All they got to do is pass a legislative act. Nobody cares the language of it. Nobody cares what gives them the right to make that statute. It doesn't even define who the statute applies to. So they leave it generic so everybody can assume because they're indoctrinated and social engineered, oh, they got a statute. But they're not looking at their national political identity. Under this, do I have a right to that statute apply to me? No, I'm not part of your community. Come on, let's get it going. Next question.
All right. This is what I'm going to deal with.
Let's get this going.
This was addressed earlier. All right. You're in your proper person by name. If whole world does not agree, that does not change your status.
Okay, let me address that. Let me address that. Now, it's a known fact that people right now in Congress right now that signed a genocide, apartheid legislator got Arabic names. Got Pakistani names, got names of foreign nations. These people coming from foreign nations with foreign names and killing our ass. And working in our schools telling us a propagated lie. And with the name teaching fictitious, fraudulent language. What do the name got to do with your national political identity? Akbark. Akbark, I hate working for the police department, running your head through a glass. An Arabic name. Oh man, he Egyptian, man. He got an Egyptian name. He done killed your father. He on the state police force, driving a state police car. With what? With that foreign name, his political allegiance to the United States or the state of origin. Let's go. Next question. You would have had something, you could add it.
No, I do, and I wouldn't have thought of that. And I want to thank you for that, Shil.
Yes.
I really do, because that's real. Because
right.
that does speak to the statement here. Does speak to the question. That's great there, because you're in your proper person by name. So the concept that we addressed regarding political allegiance. So you're saying that John Smith. That's what name that I was writing down when I went to school. John Smith. John Smith. John Smith. I listened to a couple YouTube videos for about 3 or 4 months. I went on some website and print off some paperwork, some Moorish documents, name correction, I'm declaring my Moorish nationality. I'm no longer John Smith. I'm Abdul Muhammad Bey. I'm in my proper person. I went to the website, some website, fill out some paperwork. So I sent it somewhere. Somebody signed and sealed it, and they sent me. I paid some finance, 50 notes, 75 notes, and somebody sent me, some entity sent me a Moorish nationality card. I'm now in my proper person. That's the concept. So I know. No. That's the concept. I'm in my proper person. All right. We were once again. Once again. Nationality, national political identity, and political allegiance. Under the country to which one declares they have allegiance and receive protection. So you're in your proper person. You are by yourself out in somewhere, some Moorish territory where Wisconsin operates. You're alone and you're now in your proper person, to which you have allegiance. Where's the protection coming from? Where's the protection? Where's the representation on international level? Where's the open channels of the diplomacy? Where are the Moorish officials that sent an apostille to the foreign jurisdiction? Where's the Moorish officials that sent documents to your job, not you going to personnel? Let's talk now. You've been trained by Moors, I mean conscious Moors, to get paperwork from somewhere, get it signed by somebody and sealed by somebody. You've been trained to go to your job yourself. I did it. I was trained like that. So were you. You were trained as I was trained by a Moor to go to your job yourself and go to the personnel department as I was trained to do, and to explain to the director of personnel about Moorish documents you submitting. That's not proper structure. That is not government. That does not happen anywhere in the world. That is not government. I need you to speak to this Shem. That is not government. We have to let them know how I was trained, how they were trained, in order for them to get a Shem.
Yep.
We got to tell them how I was trained and how they've been trained, and show that that's improper. And what is the proper way? That these Moors been trained that they got to go to defend paperwork by their home to these different agencies, to their job, where no government official sends the paperwork to their job.
That's right.
That they got to go themselves, talk to that Shem.
Yes. Now, I'm glad Professor Abdullah went there. So let me straighten out to add more to that question. Hey, man, you know what? We got it good for ourselves. Hey, man, they got Hebrews down there. They got Arabian names. They got Arabians down there. Man, these people say they from Moab. Man, they got Arabic names. They got Chaldean names. They got ancient Sumerian tech names. When you go in there, name Ali Akbar, these names, Shafiq Wahim. I'm talking about these people that hold official officers. You go in there and do something and say, hey, I'm a national. They're going to know what they're going to tell you? Oh, well, we not in our country, this in their country. So what is it? How you your proper person when you got a man with a foreign name that got political allegiance to the state of origins and as the United States that's declaring a silent war to apartheid, to education, not to indoctrination and language destruction, to disnationalize you and disinherit to you and steal your estate, birthright theft. How in the world you going to say somebody with a foreign name, original name, is an improper person when that same person is the one that's going out killing your children in the street, working for the enemy, the same one teaching a fraudulent language in the school system? Yes. Okay. 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 So let's get back to this. If you're a proper person, let me explain this right here. Now, say my mother gave me the name Japheth Moody. That's the name they gave me as that name. Now watch this. I decide, because I have Moorish consanguinity, I decide that I'm of the Isle of the Apostolic Republic, which is an ecclesiastical body that's in the province and regions of Morocco, in the Moroccan Empire, Moroccan territory. Now, my political national allegiance is to an ecclesiastical body that's claiming to be a country, a nation. So my name, because it's Japheth Moody, doesn't take away my consanguinity. And it does not take away my political allegiance, because my political allegiance and my identity is going to be on my card. So whether it say Japheth Moody or it say Shem Metakabe, the fact of the matter is, what's my national political identity and what allegiance do I have? My body. What allegiance do I have expressly implied through my emotions, through my thinking, and through my writings? Come on, think about that. That puts you in a proper person when you can think and write properly, and you can think properly, and you can speak properly. Then you're able to make a decision mentally to have a national identity. See, all these misconceptions.
Hold on, Shem. These Moors have been trained, Shem. All right. Those who know their Moors, and most of those who are listening tonight,
Yes.
all right, know their Moors. All right. To act individually. They've been trained, Shem, have not been trained in government structure, to operate in government structure. They've been trained to get paperwork and go on their own and submit to mail to the 7 departments in the United States. All right. They've been trained, Shem, to go to their job on their own, to talk to their personnel on their own. So when I said this is the first time they ever heard this, that Moorish government sends it to your job, that's like, what? Huh? You mean we don't send? That we can't send anything to the United States departments? That Moorish government does that based on international law and treaty? They never heard that before. So let's stay on that. Let's stay on government structure, operating in government structure. They've been trained to get paperwork, and they're not operating government structure. The name that's on the letterhead, Moorish National Federal whatever. There's no constitution for that, whatever, Moorish Federal National Government, whatever. There's no population of people, voters. There's self-appointment, or if there is an election, 5 people elect what they say a head of state, and they say, well, I am the prime minister of the Moorish nation. I am the king or queen, or I'm the empress. They've been seen, as I've seen for 28 years, Shem, self-appointment after self-appointment after self-appointment. They have not seen elections, proper elections, a population of Moorish voters. They have not seen a Moorish constitution operating through Moorish government constitutional structure. They don't know that. They know self-appointments. That's all they know. The ones who listening to me. I've seen this for 28 years. I know what I'm talking about. Speak to that.
Me, myself, I have to say, like Professor Abdullah say, one time I was on the wagon too. The wagon that just kept going on and on and on and on, and opinions and misconcepts and nothing being validated, nothing being verified, nothing being proven. I was also on that, like I say, I consider my true first awakening is when I ran into Professor Abdullah in 2005 or 6. Now, let me explain what I mean when I said my awakening. Abdullah struck me with something. So he struck me with something that woke me up and got me out of that mindset. So we have to get back to our proper person. The only way we're going to get back to our proper person is language. The proper concepts and language. We're not going to get there talking about a name. We're not going to get there talking about, well, they did it 100 years ago. We're going to get there by following the blueprints, the foundation. We're going to look like the Sokofa bird. We got to look back and see how they did government back then, and we have to do the same thing now. Like I said, nobody the Beys and Days of Algiers did not self-appoint themselves. They was governors in office representing Moroccans and Moors. Nobody back there was taking any documents. No individual Moor was taking any documents. You notice in the treaty of peace and friendship, it say flag, passport, and papers. Now I want you to hear this. If you got flag me your country. I'm glad. Oh, yes. Flag me your country. Passport means that government entered into agreement with the other government that allows you to pass through the port or the political jurisdictional boundaries of each other government. Paperwork means status. That paperwork show your status, your national political identity, and allegiance to your country. Why? Because you under protection of that country with that passport, with that flag, and with them traveling papers. Push you into protection. So that fulfill all this right here. Don't have nothing to do with name. So someone called Ali Akbar, that don't save you. That don't make you sovereign. That don't make you proper person. I can go to a lot of people with foreign names and they work for the government. They kill you. They shoot you dead. They throw your paperwork in the garbage can. They turn the doors on you. Judges sitting up there. My name is Abdullah Shapi Hapuka. Look what he's doing. He's making rules on behalf of the government, foreign government. His allegiance is to that foreign government. His political identity is to that foreign government. And when you go to try to hurt him, his share is right there. He under protection of his government with that foreign name. Any more questions? Let's go. Questions? Because there should be a lot of questions on this. So, as I can say, the name does not put you in your proper person. There's too many facts and evidence to prove that to be dead. You not know you got people driving for the police, working judges, working in the military, police, sitting on the Senate, sitting on the councils, committees, Chamber of Commerce, City Council with foreign names and got their political national identity to the state of origin, their political allegiance to that county government they represent. And when you go to hurt them, they call 911. They call for protection. Who do they call them for? The officers, the men and women that have a political identity and allegiance to protect you because you claim the allegiance to that government. So let's stop talking about you got a foreign name, put you in your proper person. You know there's no evidence for that. Now let's get back to proper person. Once again, the international community came together and made a decision. Permanent population. They say qualifications. I didn't write this. I wasn't there when it's written. Permanent population. Are you a permanent population? Outside blocking it? Okay. Are you a permanent population? Huh? Have y'all came together and settle your differences and said we're going to come together to protect our states, our kinsmen, our children, our wife, our husband. We want to protect our land, our agriculture. We want to force our protection. So we need a government. So we come together, a permanent population. Meaning a population of people that already pre-existed here. We're the descent and kinsmanship of these people. So we are acting now as the executors of these people because they ain't living no more. They're not the last. We the descendants. So we acting in the role as the executor over the estate. Define territory. What you mean? Go to a map that has the right longitude and latitude of the world, where all the old names of these nations was before the political occupiers came in here and set up their own zones for their longitude of travel and longitude and latitude of traveling, going to their different political jurisdiction. We need to get the old ones and create our own defined territory in the region and province of Morocco throughout the empire. Now, government, have we came together and elected officials that's got national political identity and allegiance to our country? Huh? So that's what we have to do. I'm showing you how you be your proper person. Capacity to enter into a relationship with other nations. When this is fulfilled, then you could be your proper person because you will have a national political identity. You will have a national political identity. When you buy a car, you will pay for the car. First of all, you have to get back with your mother. Well, our mothers have let go. There's an assumption to take that our mother did not have a country when she started having her children, and the father did not claim a country. So therefore, we was not under the protection of a political national identity or allegiance to a country. Therefore, we had no one to protect us. So therefore, the foreign corporate states, which are called state of origins, they start becoming the woman and man protector. When that happens, we win the title of a refugee because what was created for us was to disnaturalize that was language to race. The title was, outside us not having a national political identity, they was creating a fraudulent, constructive identity that would not help us out in language. So we have to come back with a government. That's how we can claim our bodies back. To the knowledge of self, we can claim our bodies. The Bella. The Bella is your body. The Lord is your divinity in your body. Because that's why you held accountable for your thinking, for your writing, and for your speaking. And y'all think that's a lie. Y'all been through it in life. You are responsible for what you think. You're responsible for what you say. You're responsible for what you write. And you are responsible for what your emotion and actions demonstrate. Apply out of you. Let's stop. Let's stop playing with each other. We got to get this right. Here go the criteria right here. Now, your proper person is when you go here to buy a car. I'm going to use an illustration. Okay.
All right, it's time, everyone.
Abdullah Bey.
Stay up here, please. All right. Yes. There's been quite a few people who are listening, questioning that, wanting to know why you don't have a fez on. All right. And hold on. Which means they're not engaged in what we're talking about. The focus is on. Just don't talk about cheating for a minute. The focus is so much on that Shem is not wearing a fez. They're about to jab needles in the babies. Jab needles in the babies. Jab needles in you. You can't work until you're getting jabbed. Somebody got shot down the street just now, or down the street where you just lived, or whatever. And you are focusing on. I gotta be real, man. This is 28 years. I've heard stuff like this. 28 years. They're not even focusing on the presentation. The Shem Malachi Bey don't wear a fez. That he's dropping jewels. Of national political unity. but the man don't have a fez on. Shim didn't have to wear a fez on. Shim doesn't have a fez on. Shim doesn't have a fez on. Shim doesn't have a fez on. Shim have done fez on. It's just so they're not focused on the lesson of national political unity. That he doesn't have a fez on. I mean, let's just be real. Shim's not a Moor because he don't have a fez on. Hold on, let me see. I'm draining out my blood because you said I'm taking the blood out. You see, Shim not a Moor because he don't have a fez on. How can he drain his blood out? Abdullah Bey, you being silly, I'm doing that to make a point. More is his consanguinity. That will never change. All right? I just wanted, we wanted to address that. We wanted to address that. There seems to be a lot of confusion about what is being broadcast. Let me address that. The reason why there seems to be a lot of confusion about what's being broadcast, because as I said, I know where it's coming from. Let me address it. You've been listening to certain people for 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, 5 months, 3 months. You've been told to send documents to 7 departments. You, yourself, you've been told that you send documents to a foreign power, United States, yourself. We're saying that's improper structure. So to them, it's confusion. I get it. I understand that. It's confusion because you were taught this. You were trained to do this. You were told this. You watching YouTube and watching this and watching this person, that person. I know who they are. You know I know. I was taught the same thing. So confusion comes when you're taught one thing for 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, however, and then you hear something different, that creates a confusion. We understand that. I'm a logical person. I understand that. Of course it does. So let's weigh what's being said broadcasts tonight based on the principles of government, based on the principles of international law, based on treaties. Your measuring stick is that somebody said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said. Your measuring stick is not treaties, acts, conventions. Your measuring stick is someone said. So you're not verifying. You don't know how to verify what so-and-so said based on treaties, acts, covenants, conventions, agreements. Use that as your measuring guide. But you've been trained to use what so-and-so said as your measuring guide, as opposed to, well, so-and-so gave us treaties, acts, agreements, covenants, conventions. And I can go to Article 1 or Article 3 or Principle 1, Principle 3 of a said treaty or act, covenant, agreement, convention. You can't do that. I understand what the confusion. That's why. So we're going to address. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's talk about what we heard tonight. The mission of the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus. From its inception in June 2019, with 52 Moors, a body politic was formed in the Lenape territory. where we are today. For the remaining year, bi-monthly meetings were constructed with facilitating the uniting the various Moorish provincial politics into a central governing Moorish parliamentary council. In December 2019, Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus, on behalf of United Republic of Morocco, secured her initial temporary location for the interim headquarters, where we are right now. As challenges of obligations presented itself, 17 Committed Moors continues the foundational framework. The Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus, formed to address the 400 years old European occupation issue of our Moorish land and the usurpation of our Moorish sovereignty, by developing a strategic plan based on our Moorish nationality, claim, and sound jurisprudence to facilitate the national political unity of our people in a central governing body with free, open elections and a national constitution through a Moorish constitutional convention. I'm confused because you haven't heard this before. You've heard self-appointment. You're not confused about self-appointment, though. You're not confused about self-appointment because that's what you've been trained to see, as opposed to, well, is that? Let me look back. Let me look back. Let me do a Sankofa. I'm gonna look back and see if that's proper structure. Let me look back and see if self-appointment is proper structure. Let me look back to see that I'm Prime Minister so-and-so or Consul so-and-so, and there's no constitution. Let me see, let me look back. Let me see how our ancestors did it. Let me look back and see, man, somebody's Prime Minister so-and-so or Moorish Consul so-and-so, but there's no constitution. Or Emperor so-and-so or King Emperor so-and-so, but there's no constitution. How can an office exist without a constitution? Let me look back and see if that's proper government structure. Let's see if our ancestors did that. Where's the confusion? Where's the confusion? Why is there confusion? I know why. Because you're going to measure by, you're measuring by what we're saying based on what so-and-so said, not based on acts, conventions, covenants, agreements, treaties, not looking back to principles. You're not using that. Shem Malachi Bey.
Thank you, Professor Abdullah. And back to the proper person.
I'll address this. Permanent population, establishment, ecclesiastical society. Continue talking.
Yes. Get back to a proper person. We have to have a population. Every day we get up in the morning time, we look at there's municipal, there's state, and there's private corporations operating in front of our face. Matter of fact, we work for them too. We work for these corporations, or whether we work for ourselves, we form a corporation. They are operating before our face every day. In order for that corporation to operate, you have to have elected officials. In order to have elected officials, there have to be a body, a permanent population. I mean, people claiming to be in that specific zone, political zone, and claiming to have citizenship or residency in that political zone. Then they elect it, and then what they do is they say that their rights are embodied in that constitution and under their flag. Now, that community is the life, like divinity is in our body. That community is the life of that corporate structure. Without that population, that that corporate body is dead because they can't have no elections, no one can fulfill the office, and no one can generate any revenue. Nor can anyone pass any decisions or make any decisions or enter into any disputes among themselves because there's no population. So the population is the life force of a government structure.
Okay, can we pause?
Yes,
So Shem, you're saying everyone's saying where's the remedy? The remedy is us. We are the remedy, correct? Is that what you're saying?
that's right. The people that come together. Yes.
The Moorish,
The more,
the Moorish consequently coming together, establishing provincial body politics throughout the various zones, creating a constitution amongst their provincial body politic. They flag and seal. So we are the remedy, correct?
absolutely.
So not one person, not a savior. We're the remedy. Is that what you're saying? Because I'm a little confused. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
we the remedy. Yes,
Thank-
we the remedy.
Okay, go ahead. Permanent population mean the people.
Yes, that's the people.
We the people. We are the remedy.
That's right. Like Tamara said, and I just made it clear. If Abdullah come up here and cut me and I start bleeding, all my blood leaks out, I'm dead. I'm saying my body, what's going to happen is the cosmic energy is forced to leave now based on the plumbing. So it's a vicious cut there. Without the blood in the veins, what I'm showing is that the blood in the veins is the life of the body. The people, the population is the life of the government. You can't have that without the people. Please hear me. How you going to have a government without people? I don't need nobody. I got myself. Prove that. Where's that? What can I look back to prove that? I want proof of that. Anybody out there that make that claim, you challenge them and make them show you proof. Don't make them talk about now. Make them look back. You can't talk about now because we're in the apartheid and genocide.
Now,
I
Shem, well, what are the options? Let's stay here. Let's stay here. Let's stay on permanent population because we got to get our people to get this in their head because they looking for a remedy outside themselves. And the remedy is right there at the tip of your knowledge of knowing who we are and to come together. Put everything else aside. So you talked about a permanent population. We the people are the permanent population, correct? You said that's correct. Check, right?
Absolutely.
And the type of societies we can form one, you talked about ecclesiastical society, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Now we can get into that. We can get into and B, you can have a social trust, which is where all the Moorish provincial body politics who had their various constitutions, flags, sealed, come together, form a treaty of amity and peace one to another. Then we ascend our information and redeposit as a registry that we are one. We may be many, but we are one. We're all one, working in unison.
Right.
And from that, we establish our parliament, judicial, legislative through voting, correct?
Absolutely.
Through voting, correct?
That's right.
Ecclesiastical, no different. Various tribes, clans, houses, family come together, correct?
That's right.
Form their constitution, right?
That's right.
Their flag, their seal, correct?
That's right.
And deposit that into the embassy to let them know who we are, correct?
That's right.
All right. So permanent population is who? We
It's
the
the
board.
people. It's the people.
Okay, I think you've been saying it all night, right?
That's right. And I can even further what Tamara talking about. A lot of y'all enroll in colleges. And colleges need a community. They need, yes, a college in the land need people to educate or indoctrinate. How are you going to have a college teach without people?
Okay, so for 12 months, starting March the 21st, the Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus had a 12-week session on Moorish body politic formation.
Yes.
Okay, soon all that information, all those videos will be going up on the current website that is a ad hoc website, which is United Republic of Morocco.com. The videos will be going on there soon. There's a lot of modification being made, had to move from one platform to another. People can go to there and look at the 12 weeks of that, informing either their ecclesiastical body or forming their or forming our social trust one
Yes.
to another to raise up. Now get into the social trust a little bit more, because I have really good ears and I've been hearing you quite well. So the difference between the social trust and the ecclesiastical society, get into those two differences when we want to talk about permanent populations, because we want them to hear tonight.
Okay. Now we're going to deal with a social trust. Now, excuse me, we're going to deal with ecclesiastical
Yeah,
body.
let's deal with the quickest, the most well settled one formed from the. Let's deal with the ecclesiastical one. Let's deal with that one.
Ecclesiastical is the first formation of real government, because a man or woman, in order to get that kind of government and to get balance,
No, we're saying that. What is that?
it's the ecclesiastical body.
All right, let's put it in
The
perspective.
ecclesiastical body is the most important value monument structure of government can ever be, and I'm gonna explain why. The prophetess or the prophet, the apostle, the seer, the dauti, the Christian, the anointed, that received the cosmic revelation, I mean knowledge from the unseen world that nobody know on earth, that is not have been unlocked or spoken or said on earth. They bring it back to establish them a people, the people on the earth, to gather them together under the principle of a covenant, so that they can be in alignment and balance with the unseen world, the powers of the unseen world.
Okay, so our people see it every day, right? It's called a church, right?
That's what they say.
Okay, no. Let's just we say
Right.
It's called the church, right?
Or mosque.
Or mosque, a synagogue, which is
temple.
ecclesiastical body, which means that your constitution comes from the body of people that comes together and create the bylaws, the covenants, the conventions of that constitution of your ecclesiastical body, the board members and everything of that, correct?
That's right.
All right. So we see it every Sunday, but we don't see the government function of it in operation.
There you go.
All right. So we see it,
There you go.
but something is missing. Our church, mosque, synagogues has given up that which should be held back in divinity, in the seership, to a corporate foreign body through a 501c3
Right.
or 805 ILCS.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so that you don't. What is Shem saying is the ecclesiastical body do not have to deposit her conventions, seerships, divine covenants, moral compass register it into a foreign jurisdiction. You hold that within the organization, correct?
That's right.
You have the council of elders. Okay, so how fast could something like this be done for Moors to have their protection, create their exemptions of any type of immunization or things of that nature? This could be a fairly quick process when you're working in unison, right?
That's right.
All right. So the most difficult one is like herding cats, right? That's the social trust.
That's right.
Let's get into that. Shem.
All right. Tab, I'm gonna address something you brought up really very important, that the churches deceive the people. Now, I'm just going for the church followers. You will hear a church say, well, they the law of the land. What they're saying is that they the culture of the land. That's a lie. The culture is your Bible. Well, what are you talking about, Shem? Read it. It say, in the church, which is it said, you're a royal priesthood, a holy nation. The word, why would they say royal? That's Herodian. The apostle, the seer, said you're royal. He said you're a royal priesthood, a holy nation. Now let's get back to what they said and stop listening with people. They closed that page with say, in the church is administrations, governments, principal. Why is that not talked about? I will say it again. The seer already said it. He said, in the church, which is a body a people, mass body of people existing in the earth under the commandments and order of the unseen world through a seer. In that body that's set up as municipalities, principalities, administrations, government. That's in Ecclesiastes, that's in the 2 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter, 11th chapter, the 14th. Why is the preachers not teaching that? You know why? They're not anointed. They're not anointed. This is why the Ecclesiastes, I'll make it clear. The apostle told the more. He said, I dare any of y'all having a dispute between one another, hear me out, go before the law of the unjust and not the law of the righteous. Who's the righteous? The ecclesiastical body. So you can't take your morals, brother, to a foreign government and try to assume that's why you're not your proper person, because you know you ain't supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to have your own government. They had it back then. The ecclesiastical body, that's why they persecuted them and they killed them. They killed the prophetess, the judges, and they killed the seer. They had to get them out the way to get their plan across what they knew called social economics, which is a constitution. Now, I don't have nothing against constitutions, but I'm saying when a constitution is formed, a lot of times it's formed when the split is in the kingdom. And people don't want to operate by the covenant of the seer.
You said that too fast. You said that too fast. You said that too fast. That may have went over somebody's head. I'm sorry if I can't get on the camera, y'all. I'm working the computers in the back. So you said, oh, you dropped the shim. What is you divided the line. I hope people can see the divided line between the ecclesiastical body and the social trust. You got to drop it one more time.
That's why the Sultans never had a constitution. The Sultans rely on the Quran. The Bombay states rely on the statutes. The Quran has statutes and ordinance. They didn't need a constitution. They used the seer. Now, when a split comes, when somebody have a difference in what the seer said and said, we ain't wanting to do with that, then the numbers grow outside that, then they form a constitution among themselves. That's a split in the national government. That's a split. In order not to go to war, they would split and allow them to have a certain boundary of government region and province in the nation empire to govern themselves. And that will become their social trust to protect their rights. Their rights are embodied among themselves as they make it up according to their culture. But they would not go by the seer. And a lot of times, that's why nations that went by ecclesiastical principles operated in the private and control anything, because the first thing they say that the delegation authority for them to even create the social trust came from the ecclesiastical principle, because upon the ecclesiastical principles of the prophet or the prophetess, we was conveyed the land. They wasn't conveyed the land. We was conveyed the land because the seer said, go there, travel, and conquest it and discover it and take it. It's yours. Because the title holder, the cosmos, they had it. They told us seer. Now, when they split from that, they get from under that protection. That means you don't agree with what? The seer, you don't agree with the unseen power. I mean, you're making it up yourself. Nobody wants to talk about this. That's why you had wars. This is why you always see people that got social trusts and come on to always persecute people that are ecclesiastical bodies. Why you see in war, ecclesiastical bodies like in Mohammedanism, there have been wars among themselves. Even Prophet Muhammad was killed, poisoned. I'm keeping it real. Nobody wants to talk about this.
Let me explain this, Shem.
Yes.
All right. I have the compass and square. That's yours. That's not some Masonic order. Belongs to Masonic order. So let me explain. All right. I have the compass and square with the G.
Oh, yes.
The G stands for the word geometry. Geometry is earth measure. The unseen world, shapeless. So when you see the manifestation of plants or seashells or ants or snowflakes, crystals, they have a geometrical shape. The geometrical code comes from the unseen world, the creation. So to study creation, to study the unseen world, you use geometry. That is the genetic code, genetic makeup that began in the unseen world. The plane, this is the plane where things are manifested, but it doesn't begin in this plane. The masses of the people have been taught to start with what they see with these eyes and not with this eye. The divinity, the unseen, geometry. That is the key to unlock. Geometry is the key to unlock the genetic code of the unseen world. Geometry is the key to connect, to show the harmonic relationship to the unseen world. The unseen world and the natural world. The natural world is the seen world. The unseen world is the divine. All right? So this is key. This is very important. So the seer holds that key. The galactic cross. You see the Black Panther do this. Millions of people went to the movies and children do this and they don't know why they do it. They do it because the Black Panther does it. But they don't know what it means. You see this on the Confederate flag, which is yours. That's the galactic cross. You have the tropical cross, the intersection, that's the seasons, the 4 seasons, or the earth cross, and you have the galactic cross. You have ancient statues, Hecate statues. They have the arms crossed and holding an ankh. So this is the galactic cross. That's the intersection of the Milky Way. Galactic means milk. Galactic, galaxy means milk. So that's the Milky Way. All right. So then you have the galactic celestial equator and the galactic equator. Intersect every 12,500 years, forming the double cross. You double cross me. You double cross me. The earth cross and the galactic cross. You see that in the British flag. That is the double cross. That's the union of the tropical cross and the galactic cross. That's the celestial equator and the galactic equator. Intersect every 12,500 years. That's yours. It's understanding the knowledge of this. This is ancient knowledge that is being preserved in front of your face. This is the preservation. So when you see these flags worldwide, that's cosmology in front of your face. Those are cosmology. So they're preserving the ancient knowledge of cosmology and flags and seals and coins and medals and the metrology and the layout of cities. So your body, the geometrical shape of your body, the divine proportion of your body. So to study the measurements of the universe, I study your body. Study your body in divine proportion. 1.618. That is the divine proportion. That's the measurement of the universe. Geometry. This is ancient knowledge. It hasn't gone anywhere. Societies have preserved this.
Speaking of
If
ancient,
this knowledge is lost, if this knowledge is lost, there's no civilization.
let's get on this ancient. Let's drop another pin in the ancient ones. Okay. I hear the Moors, we talk about the fairs a lot and say your mother gave it to you. Gonna pause it right there.
Your mother gave you what?
The fairs.
All right.
Your mother gave you the deer antlers. Your mother is the noble. Your mother gave you deer antlers, my Lord. You are crowned with the deer antlers. Go look it up.
Iroquois Constitution.
The Haudenosaunee Constitution. Your mother didn't give you a fez. Your mother crowned you with deer antlers, my Lord. That's what your mother crowned you with. And we not to worry about in ecclesiastical society whether or not that you are going to be forced to do something because you follow the seership of nature, not the seership of the doctrine of any man. You follow the seership of nature. And nature tells you, and if you want to use any of that scripture, the best one that I like to use to slap them in the face with, it works. Just go to Revelation 22 and just quote them this. It tells them in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits. That means each season, each month, you have your nourishment. And yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree, the leaves is the herbs, were for the healing of the nation. That's your exemption. So we have to get ourselves together in alignment. And when someone say, oh, United Republic of Morocco would never start a government, that means you're talking to yourself. You're saying that I, the people, that's part of the people, would never assemble and come together with my Moors to raise up our Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus. That's what you said to yourself. Because we of the Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus, we said that we will help be the facilitator to bring our various Moorish body politic together so we can come in unity to restore the Moorish Imperial divan. That's what we have said. And through that, yes, we host classes through Academy of Providence to help demystify, to help language, law. Those are two subject areas that we focus on for the clear and the understanding. You can't be a competent political society and still operate under connotation, miseducation, illiteracy. That means you're standing on principles that are not sound. So yes, education is key. That's why they put an education mechanism in place to deliberately dumb us down. So there must be an educational platform in place to raise and bring us out of them. Okay, so yes, the number one, the U.S. did not start with 56 people. The United States had the backing of the crown. You got to get deeper into your knowledge before things are just thrown out there. So yes, if we want to hold the elections, we have to come together one to another. It's not on us, it's on you. It's on all of us to come together one to another. That's what it's about. There can be as many ecclesiastical bodies. What does the Latin say, Abdullah? It's from many come one.
E pluribus unum.
There could be many ecclesiastical body. There doesn't have to be one. Everyone do not have to claim Mohammedanism. Everyone do not have to claim Judaism. Everyone do not have to claim Christianity, because all of them, let's be clear. Let's be clear about this. One thing we do know, all of them are derived from nature. Claim the foundation, claim the source. That's the seership. Claim the source. So we so caught up. And if the societies, the various ecclesial body politic, if they choose to pick whatever doctrine, so be it. Not one ecclesiastical Moorish body can trample on another. Wampum 99. Let the different bodies have their own writs and religions according to their will, because that's for their protection. Leave them alone. But guess one thing we should have in common, and that's ascension. That's our liberation. Because I'm going to tell you one thing they have in common. That's keeping their foot on our back every
You
day,
ain't lying.
24 hours, 7 days a week. The clock do not stop. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to come together so we can start the election and become, because Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus said one of the motions was that would be placed on the floor when the government come together, it's the name of United Republic of Morocco. The second motion would be the seal that was presented. The third motion would be the location of the central government body seat. But that's for the government to decide, not for the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus to decide. You have to know the difference between a caucus and a social trust. So people, let's do it. Are we going to do it, or are we going to keep talking about it and fighting? Be you, be me, but let's just be free.
They're going to be jabbing us. They're going to jab us. They're going to jab. What did Biden say? Biden said in January, to January 21st, after the inauguration, I'm going to make sure that everybody get a needle stuck in their arm. I'm going to make sure that everybody get a needle stuck in their arm. That's what he said. He did it like this. A needle stuck in their arm. That's what he said. He did. Oh, Shem, you ain't got a fez on. I'm going to make sure that everybody get a needle stuck in their arm. Shem, you ain't got a fez on. I got to keep it real, man. They know me. They know me. I don't play. I don't play, man. I don't play. When it comes to the life of our people, Tamara, Shem, and Terrence know that I don't play. I do not play. Shem.
Okay. Now, you heard me say earlier, I said it's a split. It's a difference. When ecclesiastical, like Tamara say, they didn't need nobody to make up no precepts or no concepts. It was already encoded, given to the prophet or the prophetess. When they spoke it and it went in language written, that was it. That's final. That's red judicata. Clado stopper from anybody, not even the priests. It's good right here? It's good? No, I'm pointing right here, social trust. I'm showing the split. Nobody was able to create a doctrine. It was already given to the seer. Once it got written down, become a covenant with the people of the land, the population of people, and the powers of the unseen world, the cosmos. All the audits and precepts are already written. As they written like that. When you see somebody take and change that through language, they're making an order and the commandments of the seer of none effect with their private tradition through language. That's fraud. Because they're taking away the people's rights that's protected by the covenant. So when that happens, a division happens. And the people no longer wants to be governed by the covenant. So what do? They gather among themselves as a population. They still a population, and what they do, they elect. And they pick the strongest of, they consider the strongest of the house to be the king or the queen. That means they make it, they say this house is gifted, it's Herodian, we're going to make it the king and queen. From there, everybody fell to a lower state. They fell to a lower state. That means their status. They became subjects in their own land. What are you talking about, Shem? Anytime you rise up a house or a certain people living among you in a population to a certain high esteem of yourself, you just put yourself in servitude. This is what the seer brought, that nobody could ever do that, rule over and conquer people, make them like that, because we all kinsmanship and descent among ourselves, cousins and brothers and sisters. They never supposed to be done. When that happens, the creation of a social trust comes in by the form of a constitution. That means the people now embody their trust to a head of state, a parliament, and judges that make decisions for them. And they delegate them that authority. And that's a split, because they no longer operate by what the seer say. They operate based on what they say. That means we don't believe in no unseen world power. We wasn't there when you seen it. We don't know nothing about that. So they separate themselves. That's why you got the split between the ecclesiastical body and the social trust, which is a constitution. And that's how, but remember, both of them operates on population of what? People. Now, let me before we close out, I want to say something real fast. I'm glad Abdullah said that. The concept of the woman means a lot in nature and in divinity. What are you talking about, Ship? No, it does. Because you always hear the word she or her, the bridegroom. You hear this marriage in nature and divinity. Now, one of the prophets, apostles, broke something down to geometry when he said this. And I'm glad Professor Abdullah opened my eyes. He gave me a deeper measurements in what he was saying. He said, I see a woman clothed with the sun, standing on the moon under her feet. Now, we know in nature, the earth relies on the cycles of the moon. The earth also is wrapped in the sun, divinity. I mean, the sun gives life to the earth. The trees and nothing grow. If the sun don't shine, the moon cycles are off course. Then you got tidal waves, tornadoes. It's destruction. But it's deep how they use the woman. And so on her hair is a crown of 12 stars. Now, we have to understand that's the seer seen that. So like Abdullah said, that is a connection, because the earth relies on a cycle of the moon in different seasons. So we're seeing this is reflected in the feminine. Man, we got to get this together, man. We've been lied to and played the game on. We got to come out of this. And the only way, like I said earlier, if you can gather in a basketball game 10,000 to 60, 80,000 people, you could go to a banquet of 5,000 people. All the lower things that have nothing to do with national political identity, nothing to do with bringing us together as a pop. Because if that's the case, if I go to a football game and 60,000 people and 40,000 is Moors, I should be able to get them to right there sign up as a population. I can't get them. Why? You know why? I want y'all to hear this. The moment you get socialized, you know worse than a crackhead, a dust head, and a heroin addict. Hear me out. And I'm going to explain what I mean. A heroin addict and a crackhead and a dust head don't worry about being in a population. They don't worry about voting. A dope fiend, a crackhead, and a dust head don't worry about voting. They don't worry about gathering among people. All they worry about is to fulfill, to get a desire and get to the mindset where they can get away from nature. the real civilized nature, looking back at nature, civilization, they get away from that. The dope, crack, and dust take them away from that. When you get socialized in sports, entertainment, and sex and movies, you are socialized, you are junkie. You don't care where your people wind up at. You don't care if you got a damn country, and you don't care where they put you at and what they feed you. You're a dope fiend. I rest my case. Have a nice day. Salam alaikum.
Right. The brother without the fez. I'm gonna start calling him the brother without the fez. I mean, you know, man. I mean, come on, man. All right. The United Republic, the Academy of Providence. Academy of Providence will be holding another class, Public Administration and International Law. That's a 12-week course coming your way soon. That's September 25th of 2021 through December 11th, 2021. That's every Saturday. You know the drill, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, virtual and classroom. The classes are recorded, which is a great feature. So if you cannot make it on Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch up the next day or the day after next. All right. So this is a great feature that I love, that the classes are recorded. Your instructors, yours truly, Abdullah Iltimosi Bey, and the brother who doesn't wear fez, Shem Malachi Bey. About our program, the 12 weeks contract law course will teach students governmental procedures dealing with diplomacy and international law. Secondly, students will be taught how justices and jurists weigh in on facts and merits pertaining to treaties, acts, covenants, conventions, constitutions, and agreements affecting nations whenever there is a dispute based on the agreements or contracts signed between two or more nations. Finally, students will learn the principles, procedures, and remedies pursuant to international law and adjudication at collateral estoppel Shem talked about. Enroll now. Go to United Republic of Morocco.com and click on Academy of Providence. Once again, go to United Republic of Morocco.com and click on Academy of Providence. Get your ticket now. Get your ticket now. Right, we have about 7 weeks before the course. Public Administration and International Law coming your way soon. Thank you again. I greatly appreciate y'all. I love y'all dearly. I'm very serious. Very serious. I love y'all dearly. Let's unite. Let's unite. Let's unite. Peace. All right, real quick. You didn't cut it yet. All right. Now, those of you who know about my books, all right, you go to mooresandmasonry.org. We have How Her Venus and Rule Moon, How Her Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Illuminati, Illumination of the Mind, the Ancient Musical Scale, Pineal Gland, Melanin, DNA, Cellular Memory, Moors and Masonry, 20 years of research, Moors and Masonry. Moors and Masonry Part 2 will be out in the spring of next year. And then I have another book coming out, the epistemology, not epistemology, you have extraterritoriality, consular jurisdiction, and treaty enforcement through Moorish government structure. That will come out before Moors and Masonry Part 2. Then I have this book, The Masonic Composite Square and the Connection to Measurement of Timekeeping. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. mooresandmasonry.org. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace.